So welcome to Black Belt Interviews. This is Master David Hodson. I'm absolutely delighted to say my guest today is Grandmaster Paul Donnelly from the Taekwondo Association of Great Britain. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate this. Spoke to Grandmaster Oliver recently, and that was a wonderful podcast and interview. And I know you've worked very closely with him and have done for many years. But I wonder if we could start at the beginning for you. If we go back in time,
okay,
around 1973.
I wish I could. Yeah.
Sir, so 17 years old, 1973. Yeah, was that your first experience of Taekwondo, and how did it go from
there? Really, not late sort of 72.
Okay.
A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, he pointed out an advertisement, only a really small advertisement in the local paper about Taekwondo, and he said, I'm going to go along and see about that. And I went with him, and I thought, well, yeah, it's okay. But I wasn't really sort of interested too much. But then in 1973, he said, oh, they're going to put a demonstration on. So I went along to the demonstration, and I watched people, breaking bricks, jumping over, 6 or 7 people. And I thought, wow, that's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
So that sort of got me interested. And I joined the next week in that beginner's class. In that beginner's class, because it was, it was that kind of era where martial arts was sort of kung fu was taking off type of thing. And there was 122 people in that beginner's class.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah. Those were the days.
Yeah. Not many children, all adults or mixture.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just adults, really. There wasn't, I don't think there was any children in that class at all, about 122.
Wow.
And very few women as well, about half a dozen.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And whereabouts was this? In the Midlands, was it? Or
Yes. Yeah, it was at a school in Warwick.
Yes.
Which was called Mighton School at the time. And, I was an old boy at that school, so, it was quite familiar to me.
Yeah, yeah. And the lead instructor was?
Bob Howe.
Bob Howe, yeah.
And he also had a colleague of his, Bill McCracken, who's sadly passed away. But they were both really good guys, top guys. Bob Howe, as you probably heard from Dave, he's still around. He still comes and visits tournaments and things like that. Good friend of ours.
Yeah.
But and although he stopped Taekwondo to further his career, he was a quantity surveyor and went to Saudi Arabia, which you probably know by now.
Yeah.
With Dave. But Dave will tell you, Dave Oliver will tell you the same thing. He'll always be our instructor, and that's that,
Yeah, absolutely. And a great person to start with. And they were very early days. Were they early days for Taekwondo in the country?
Yeah, there was only I think Oxford, Derby, and Coventry. Those 3 places started off again. At the risk of being repetitive, it started off in RAF camps, and then sort of went from there.
Yeah, and we've heard that the training was pretty brutal, pretty tough.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's one of those things, But Bob Howe, at the time, he wanted, and so did Rhee, who was the chief instructor at the time of the UKTA. They wanted quality because they realised they had to push it. I bet there was probably less than 1,000 people in the country practicing Taekwondo.
Yeah,
maybe in the hundreds, and they realised they had to promote it and push it. And if they were going to put people up as, leading lights or starting off Taekwondo, they had to be like technically good, or capture the imagination of people who'd never seen it before.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you took to it pretty easily. Did it fit in with your, physicality?
Yeah,
Were you
I
quite
mean,
flexible and so on?
yeah, I had a yeah. I mean, at school, I did gymnastics quite a bit. When I started, I could do things. I was flexible. I could do the splits and stuff like that both ways. Um, so I took to it quite easy. I mean, people would show me something, and I'd pick it up quite quickly. But it was never enough. And I sort of kept that ethos myself. Uh, why stop if you can do something when you can do it better?
Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 And the people of the time, they could show you that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We would do things like we would do like flying side kicks. There would be ropes in the gym, uh, as every gymnasium had in those days, and Bob would tie a knot in the one of the ropes, which would progressively get higher and higher. You'd run along and do a side kick, and you'd think it was absolutely marvelous, and he'd say, "Rubbish, do it again."
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
just run around in a circle doing it over and over again until he was happy with it, which he never was.
Yeah. 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 So was it obvious that you were picking it up well and being looked at as a great student?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as time's gone on, and I've taught myself and gone as well, I've always had the thought in my head that if somebody's really, I mean, if they're good and they pick it up well, and then they get really good, and then you've got somebody who's really struggling, and they get to average, who's worked hardest? It's the person who's got to average that's worked harder,
Yeah.
because they started from a struggle.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuck with me. And it sort of taught me, along with my instructor as well, and some of my students, it's taught me humility.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's a great thing for people to have.
Absolutely. So yeah. 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 Absolutely. And so the physical training, it was tough. The sparring would have been tough as well. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Again, as you probably heard, we didn't have equipment or anything
yeah.
like pads of any description. I've had my nose broken a couple of times and various injuries, but
Yeah.
that was part of the course at the time. You couldn't
Yeah.
do it now, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you decimate schools,
Did you identify with
and
any
with
part
so
of?
many
Sorry.
children.
Yeah.
I say, I say with so many children doing it now, you have to be very careful. When I started, or when I started teaching, um, there was maybe 5-10% children, and the rest were adults. You could almost turn that on its head.
Yeah.
It's
That's
it's
right.
changed so much.
Yeah.
I mean, how are these people? Do you teach kids yourself, David?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. The majority.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Well,
right.
you will know, and you'll be a better man than me, because I I really admire people who can teach kids. I mean, I was useless at teaching kids. Still am, because they make me laugh.
Right.
And
Yeah.
what kids want is consistency. It's no good if you're like roaring with laughter because one of them said something funny, and then the next minute you're telling them off because they're stepping forward with the wrong foot.
Yeah. 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 It's a different thing altogether, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but when you were training, so did you identify with anything immediately? Was it the patterns? Was it sparring, or was it just the whole thing? Was it you took to it all just
It,
as well?
it was the whole thing. I mean, yeah, but Bob Howe always said, or always tried to instill with us that to be good at to try and be good at everything, to be an all rounder as opposed to just one thing. So I mean, sparring was great. It was really good fun. Taught you a lot about yourself. Um, but again, he wanted you to be as good technically as you possibly could.
Yeah.
So you could do patterns, you could spar, you could do destruction.
Yeah. And it was a club that allowed you to develop within it. It was the seniors would help and encourage and so on, or
Oh yeah, I mean, when I started, when I walked in that demonstration, I mean, Dave Oliver was a red belt at the time, and he was always really sort of helpful. He was like the senior man in the club, apart from the instructors. And what you missed out on with Bob, we would have a Friday night session separate with, which Bob condoned, which he thought was really good.
yeah,
And we would go on a Friday night, and Dave would take the class, and anything you missed out on,
okay,
he would
yeah,
like sort of help you with.
yeah, yeah. Excellent, excellent. I think every school needs that, doesn't it? So
Yeah,
especially with such numbers that
yeah,
you're talking about as well. Yeah, 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 yeah. So you were just working
yeah.
your way through
Mind you,
the.
that
Sorry, so go ahead.
go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say you're
Yeah,
working your
mind
way
you.
through the grades and
Yeah.
progressing, and you're getting identified as a good upcoming student, so on. Um,
Yes. It's as I say, it was. I mean, whereas the grades that they take now, I got double promoted several times, which sort of skipped a grade. Um, but again, I've got no illusion what it was for, is because I was going to be used in demonstrations at a later date and things like that. Rhee double promoted me several times,
yeah,
as he did with one or two other people like Ron Sergiew. Same sort of thing, because we could, do things like, like you see now, demonstration techniques.
yeah,
Mind you, some of it now is ridiculous, isn't it?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I mean,
yeah,
you see guys, jumping up, hitting 4 cream crackers. Uh, I mean, that circus is nothing to do with martial arts, is it?
yeah, yeah,
But at the time, we were always taught that if you threw a kick, it had to be able to do damage, not just look good.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that was the thing. I mean, it, if you did a kick, and that was sort of endorsed later on when during demonstrations by General Choi.
yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So you didn't have access to the cream crackers. You had the proper piranha pie
Yeah,
and so yeah,
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 everybody. Yeah, you had to do it.
yeah,
Both legs, both hands.
yeah,
Whatever. It was one of those things because they knew that, as I say, with that small amount of numbers of people practicing Taekwondo, they realised they had to like push it
yeah,
because it wasn't very big at all. And like when you went somewhere that was new and people hadn't seen it before, you had to like hand the bricks round, the tiles round, the wood round, so to the audience, so people could see that it was like hard stuff, genuine stuff,
yeah,
and like people couldn't come in random, Joe Public, and like sort of snap the wood or anything else. It had to be substantial,
yeah,
otherwise it wasn't very impressive
yeah.
either way.
Absolutely. The new martial art that was accessible had to define itself, show its potential
Yeah,
and what it could do for you as a person, and get that wow factor for people to be interested. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
excellent. So for yourself, then you're being seen as a very good upcoming student, great technical ability. Um, where is it going from there? You going to the competitions now, and
yeah. I mean, there wasn't many competitions about, but where there was one, then yeah, we would go into it. We'd take part in it. The and that when I was coloured belt, I mean, it's mainly sort of team events, and they were organised by Dave Oliver and the people around there. They would organise like a Midland Championships or something like that,
yeah,
and then it grew to like there was enough people about enough areas to have an English Championships, etc., and it grew from there. At black belt, it was when we got to black belt, there wasn't a lot of black belt competitions at first, but then they started coming on, and it was. But again, you used to get several people that go into it, and it was uh, it was quite brutal. I
Yeah.
mean, people would get would get hurt quite a bit, but that was it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
learn as you go on, don't you?
Yeah. And there was a time when there was no weight categories. It was just a belt class. Was that right?
Yeah. No, that's correct. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that even when they introduced weight classes, they would like sort of weigh everybody, all the black belts on the day, which you have to bear in mind, there wasn't that many, sort of 20, 30. They'd weigh them on the day and they'd split them down the middle. And,
Right.
the lightest half would fight each other and the heaviest half.
Yeah.
So consequently, at the time, I sort of ended up as the lightest heavyweight there. and would fight in the heavyweights, which was a bit of an eye opener. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, as I say, it teaches you something. I mean,
Absolutely.
the first black belt competition that was held in Coventry at Coventry Sports Centre, I fought Ron Sergiew in the final, and we were both sort of. He was a definite lightweight. I was slightly heavier than him, but I was so glad that I missed the the rest of them,
Yeah.
because there was some like a couple of monsters in the next division.
Right. Yeah. 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 But nevertheless, you had to take care of all the weights to get to the final, didn't you? You had to take care of all those differences and the styles,
Yeah,
and heights,
yeah,
and weights, and everything. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
yeah,
And so that just continued for you. You took to all that. You won trophies and titles.
yeah. The problem is, well, it wasn't a problem actually. That's an unfair thing to say. Um, Whereas, as far as competition went, I mean, I I sort of backed away from it a little bit. When I was 23, my then girlfriend told me that she was pregnant, and at 23, I had a we had a little girl, and that sort of took over for me a little bit. I used to, I still feel guilty about it now, but I used to miss things with the upbringing. The same thing with my son. My wife, bless her, she used to take them swimming lessons, dance lessons, football lessons, all that sort of stuff. And I missed a lot of that because of like most competitions are on weekends and stuff. Always
Yeah.
felt a guilt about it and never sort of got my heart in it as much. And as I say, felt guilty about it. So I didn't sort of devote as much time as I would have liked to competition because the rest of the guys, they were a little bit younger,
Yeah.
except for Ron Sergiew, and they didn't have that sort of
Right.
problem. But
Yeah.
you know, it was one of those. But I always wanted to be, I still wanted to carry on the same sort of thing with my clubs, which I did.
Yeah.
Um, I had a club in Birmingham and another one in Wolverhampton. Big cities.
Yeah.
Birmingham, massive, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At the time we used to have a shield for the club who got the most points or the most
Yeah.
medals in a competition. And 7 years on the trot, and Birmingham won it 4 times, and Wolverhampton won it 3 times.
Right. Right.
So I could pass the knowledge on. I was quite sort of happy with that.
Yeah. Excellent. No, absolutely. Yeah. So obviously life changes, doesn't it, when the kids come along? And like you said, you have to manage your way through that.
Yeah,
I guess we can always look back and say something different, but at the time we're just dealing with it how we do. That's happened similar to myself and other people in the Taekwondo world,
yeah,
I'm sure. It's one of those things, isn't it? And were there comparisons to you, to your instructor at one time? I read somewhere that you were compared to Bob Howe.
yes, yeah. I mean, yeah, one or two people that were senior grades at the time. They said, you're just like him technically. You know, everything you do is like sort of carbon copy,
Yeah.
which I found quite flattering actually. You know, because Bob Howe I still hold now in great esteem. He was technically absolutely brilliant, and for anybody to sort of who mentioned me in the same breath, that was flattering. I really appreciated it. That's what I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to be. I mean, when you see people do a technique, it wasn't quite good enough for me. I wanted to do it perfectly.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it sort of, you set yourself a high standard. But as I explained to you before, you know, why be average if you can be good, and why be good if you can't be great? You know,
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah. 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 No, I understand. So you work as hard as the guys that are struggling, that have to work that hard. If you work that hard and you're talented, your potential goes on.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't want to come across as it's all sort of a squeaky clean and God knows what, because I mean, during like when I was sort of competing and things like that, I think I'd play the judging. I'd think, well, okay, these guys are judging me. It doesn't matter what the score is or how far behind I am. What I'll do is I'll do a jumping reverse turning kick or a 360 or something towards the end of the fight, and that will sway it.
Right, right.
Which is really cheeky and a bad attitude to have, but that's what I did. But
yeah, yeah.
I did come unstuck.
Right, right.
It's I can remember fighting Kenny Walton at the English Championships, and I beat him at the English Championships. But then 5 months later, I fought him at the British Championships, and you know, I mean, he was a great fighter, Kenny. You know, really was.
Yeah, yeah.
And he'd suss me out. You know, I sort of waited about it, and he'd like knocked up so many points that there was no coming back. So, you know, and that's what it's all about. I mean, clever sparrer, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But again, that teaches you a lesson in humility, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And you see that in top level sport, don't you? That the one-upmanship, every so often one has it and then the other. That's the similar what you're saying, I think. So
yeah. As I say, you know, it's all right. It's all right being flash, but you have to be able to sort of back it up as well. It's the same as I was talking to you about techniques. You know, I see people doing, you know, techniques, and it looks very good. And if you took a photo of it, it looked very good. But then you say, right, okay, hit somebody with it, or you know, break a few boards with it. Let's see the power in it. You know, whack a bag with it.
Yeah.
And it is a totally different thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. There's something.
Given time, you get from.
There's a term, isn't it? Fit for purpose. Are the techniques fit for purpose, or are they just for show?
Yeah. Exactly.
So if we can go forward to like 1980, around that time, if that's okay, to talk about something that you receive a letter from General Choi. Is that right? Or was it just
yes? Yeah. It was like August 1980.
Yeah.
Rhee said, "I've got something for you. So can you come to the ex hotel where they were having a meeting?" And I went there, and he handed me a letter. And it was from General Choi, and he had obviously sort of he'd heard about me and what I was capable of. I mean, I've still got all the letters. It was an invitation to go to North Korea, you know, and introduce Taekwondo to North Korea. At the time, I mean, you think about it, it's 45 and a half years ago. But it was in the letter, he said that we'll meet up in Sweden at Lim Won Sup's academy, and we'll take it from there. What you need to do is contact your government and tell them that you're going, which I did. That was a bit of an eye opener as well. I mean, I was 25 at the time, so silly as a sheep. But I contacted the government, and then the next thing I told them I was going, and they informed me we don't have an embassy there. We don't have a friendly embassy there. The nearest embassy you can deal with is the East German embassy. Yeah. We advise you not to go. And then a little bit later, I got another message from a special branch office that pointed out the fact that if I went, I was on my own, and meaning like there was no good me like phoning up anybody for if anything went wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, I'm 25 at the time, and you're all full of bravado, aren't you, and stuff. So I thought, well, that's okay. And at the time, we were training for the European Championships at Crystal Palace, and Mick Fanthorpe, who was the then coach, he said he was coming down on the train. I mean, Mick Fanthorpe, bless him, a great Taekwondo practitioner. He's passed now, unfortunately, but he was coming to do the squad training, and he came in to Leicester YMCA, and he came up to me straight away, and he said, "I've just had a strange experience. There was a couple of, one of them said to me, you are going to do some Taekwondo training." And he looked a bit quizzically at them and said, yeah. And they said, you should advise Paul Donnelly not to go to North Korea.
Wow.
And when he told me that, I got a bit of a squeaky bum time, Yeah. It's, but again, you're 25, full of bravado. I thought, well, yeah, okay, I'm going anyway. It's a chance of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I did. We went to Sweden.
Yeah.
Met up there. There was at the airport. There was a huge banner with "Welcome General Choi" and the Supermasters and stuff. But I mean, I was a third dan at the time.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a supermaster at all. But anyway, I sort of go there, and we met up in Sweden. Met up with the general and the rest of the party, who came from all over the world, really, all over the Western world, I should say.
Yeah. And
then on to Moscow, where, we had to demonstrate. Everybody had to do demonstrations of what they thought about doing in front of General Choi, and Park Jung Tae was again sitting with him, and Rhee, and we all got up and did our piece, and he gave us advice one way or the other what we should do and what we shouldn't do, which again was a humility thing for me, sort of knocked me back a bit. I'd got a man on a man's shoulders, standing on a chair and holding a board out, so it's pretty high. Then they're all talking between them, and then the general said, "Do it lower," and I thought, yeah, but it looks good high. This is what I'm thinking to myself. But he said, "No, you need to do it faster and harder at head height, so people can think, wow, that would do damage."
Yeah.
But I thought, he's just reining me back. Steady up, big head.
Wow.
So, and several other things, to do warm-ups and things like that. And, just a bit of showing off. Demonstrations, weren't they?
Yeah. So you were kind of thrown together with these
Pyong Yang in North Korea. But on the way, there were some good guys there. Really, I mean, nice people.
Yeah.
There were some nice people there, and one or two were very, very full of themselves. But the rest were really good. I mean, there was Grandmaster Chuck Sereff, great guy. Really got on with him well. To the States, I'll take you fishing. Park Jung Tae, great guy. Some of the rest of them were really, really good. Really nice people.
Yeah. Because there was
again, there was the General's son was there. Jung Hwa, or James. He was.
But you're thrown together with these people from all around the world. I think 8 were Korean, and the rest were from the West, as you said. There was someone from Greece, Grandmaster Cosmoglu. Is that right?
Demetrius.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, super guy.
Yeah, Carl Nicoletti from. Do you remember that name?
Yeah, Carl Nicoletti from the States.
Yeah.
He was one of Chuck Sereff's or Charles Sereff's students, top student.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. There was Michael McCormack, who was the General's son-in-law.
That's right. Yeah.
Again, lovely man. Really nice guy. I sort of teamed up with him a little bit. We shared the same sense of humor. Son James or Jung Hwa was a good guy as well. Felt quite sorry for him,
Yeah.
He, if you think about it, the expectation with your father being the father of Taekwondo as we know it, was a lot to bear, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there was a guy called Kresha Broussa from the what was then Yugoslavia, who again was a great guy. But you have to think about how long ago it was.
Yes,
it wasn't very long after Tito in Yugoslavia. So he liked anything Western. And I said to him once, I said, "You have a denim jacket, denim jeans, and a denim shirt." And he said, "Paul, if they did denim underpants, I would have denim underpants."
Yeah, the sort of things that you'd never would have had in the old regime.
Yeah,
that he was in. Yeah, completely westernized now. Wanted to experience life that way. Yeah. Okay, so you arrive in Pyong Yang from Moscow, and then you're there for some meetings, and then you start a tour around and to different venues.
Yes, that was we arrived in Pyongyang, and again, like I say, you got to bear in mind how old I was and stuff like that. I mean, as the plane landed and taxied, I could hear a band playing, and I thought, what the hell was that? The door opened. We go down the stairs, and there's like lines of people with like sort of flowers and got a band playing. They're all clapping as we walk down the stairs, the steps of the aeroplane, and then we walk along the crowd, and like they're really sort of enthusiastic and waving God knows what. And as I say, I'm trying to make excuses about my age, but I'm 25 and I'm walking on the line going, "All right, mate. Hello, mate." And
really?
Stuff. And then we were taken to our hotel. Then we were taken around to various things. We were taken to the ballet. We were taken to the ballet. We were taken to visit schools one morning, and as I'm I just got out the front doors of the hotel, sort of waved at the people that were down there, the reception, and I got about 50 yards down the drive, and there was this a car pulled up next to me, and it was a really old but big Russian vehicle, a ZIL. I think the name of the brand was the car, and a guy, one of our minders sort of thing, opened the door and said, "Where are you going, Mr. Paul?" And I said, "I'm going for a run." He said, No, you get in the car. You wait, get in the car." And I said, "No, I'm just going for a run." He said, "No, get in the car." So I got in the car. We went back up to reception, and by the time we got up there, they'd got this guy like with a vest and shorts on or whatever, and he said he will run with you.
Right.
So, it was a case of running down the drive. I'm going to turn left, and he sort of shoulder nudges me to the right. So we go to the right. So went about a mile, and I thought, I'm not going where I want to go. I'm going where he's taking me. So
right, yeah.
I just feigned a bad leg and said, I'm going back to the hotel. Yeah, great. So off we went back to the hotel.
I try and put myself in your shoes. You're doing your taekwondo, you get identified, so you get put up for this thing, and then suddenly a whole different world, isn't it? Different.
Yeah.
And I guess also performing, you're around some very high profile at the time people. Did you have any problem with feeling, yeah, I should be here, or you're quite well adverse putting yourself up and performing?
I mean, the biggest demo we did, there was about 12,000 people, 15,000 people in there. I suppose because of the regime at the time, they were get in there and enjoy yourself type of attitude.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it was a big crowd, and we all had to sit in chairs until we were called up to do our bit, which was good because there was quite a camaraderie, I must admit. However, there was a few people that never left the general side for 1 minute, but and didn't sort of mix with the rest of us, anyway, we all got up to do a bit. I at the actual demonstration, I did jumping reverse turning kick. I had to do warm up and throw a few twist kicks about and things like that, and then I had to spar with 2-on-1 myself, Kresha Broussa against Master Han. And again, it was all good stuff. I had to try. We were going to do one-step sparring, myself and Jung Tae Park, who's as I say, was a really nice guy, really pleasant guy.
Yeah.
But then apparently they didn't have time for that at the end. It was going to top the bill type of thing, but it never came about. Chuck Sereff punched a big stack of tiles. Again, Carl Nicoletti did a couple of leg breaks. Park Jung Tae got me sat on a motorbike and jumped over me to do a flying side kick.
Yeah.
And I'm a big motorbike fan, so which was no hardship for me.
Yeah.
And as I say, people did various things. Park Jung Tae, very good technically, and again, good sense of humour and stuff like that. A nice guy. Again, Jung Hwa and Mike McCormack, they excellent at patterns, and stuff like that. I watched them, very good technically. Again, they were obviously they were close, but also, got in the rest of the team with us, myself, Kresha Broussa, and Demetrius was, Demetrius, fantastic guy, and like a big guy, but humble, and he could break just about anything.
Yeah.
He's just one of those guys, and people would think, well, yeah, he's a big guy, but I tell you what, he was at the time. I don't know what he's like now, but he was very good technically too.
Yeah,
spot on. But and we got sort of a rapturous applause at the end of it, and all that, and it was good. After that, when you were saying about did I feel a bit out of depth and stuff, we all went back to the hotel. There was myself and Demetrius, Kresha, and McCormack, and we were having a beer and stuff like that. And Park Jung Tae came in with some forms, and he said, "You all fill in these forms. You'll be promoted," because it was such a successful tour. Well, not tour, it's such a successful whatever events. Mission, it was called, actually. So,
yeah, that's right.
Successful mission, and you know, General so happy, and you fill in these forms, and of course people did, and I didn't, and Park Jung said, "What, you haven't filled your form?" I said, "I can't." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I've only been a third dan for 5 months. There's no way I can do that."
Yeah.
And said, "Oh yeah, but this is really special. You know, you don't want to offend anybody by refusing it." And I did explain to him. I said, "Look, I've got to go back to my friends and colleagues and my peers and say, like, look, guys, I'm a grade higher than you, or 2 grades higher than you in some cases, even though it was only 5 months. I'd been a third dan, and I couldn't do it. I thought, you know, that's like giving stuff away. And I think, I'm not blaming anybody. I think it was the enthusiasm of the night, of the event, that took over people. But it didn't go down too well at the time. But that it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, I just imagine like rocking up for training with Ron Sergiew, Dave Oliver, and and Kenny and the rest of them, and Mike Jew, and saying like, "Hey, guys, I'm now a 4th dan." Just no, I couldn't do it.
No. That was one step you couldn't take, really.
Yeah. And as you know, David, I mean, there's a lot of people that would kill the granny for another degree.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's, again, I've been schooled before this interview. Don't be controversial, PD, and don't swear, don't blah blah blah. And I'm not, but I mean, to be honest with you, it's like grandmasters. I bet you there's 50% of grandmasters around the world now that are not worth it. Because they've done some time and they think that's enough. It's not enough. It really isn't. And it's debatable whether I'm worth it. To be honest with you, I mean, I've done the best I can, but it was the general. Whatever faults he had or whatever, I don't know. But there's a couple of 2 or 3 things I got the chance to talk to him about or ask him about, and like they've stuck with me. It's like one of them I can remember saying about, I mean, I said one of my students said to me, they came in with a black eye and bruising, and they said, Mr. Donnelly, the Taekwondo doesn't work, because he'd been in an altercation, and there was a bit of a sort of silence there. I'm waiting for an answer, and I thought, he's not going to answer. And then all of a sudden he said, "If I gave you, the most the top of the range, beautiful motor car, fastest car ever, would you win all the races?" And I went, "No." And then he didn't say anything else. And I thought, then it dawned on me. It's like, you can teach people everything you want, but it's not down to the art, or it's not down to the motor car. It's the person who's using it. I thought, that's quite profound. But at 25, at first I thought, what's he been smoking? Because I didn't quite get it.
You couldn't get it, no.
And then another time I said about, some people say like some of the techniques in Taekwondo, there's an alternative use for them, and he sort of laughed, or a chortle type of thing, and said, it's what you're taught, what you've been taught is enough. It's whether you can do anything with it. And I thought, yeah, I understand what he said. I mean, if you can't do a correct block to perfection or close to it, or kick or whatever, then an ideal thing is to like invent something else for it.
Yeah,
that's easier to follow.
Yeah.
And it's not Taekwondo, is it? You're digressing. There's plenty there. I mean, it was originally a military style, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when people talk to me about self-defense and things like that, I mean, there's some serious stuff. Think about the amount of kids, though, you've got training now. You can't do classes like that with kids.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be like casualties in playgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, Yanni Peros on the THB committee.
Yeah.
Kenny Walton. Okay, both worked on the doors, security and stuff. I in my Wolverhampton club and Birmingham club, I taught an awful lot of doormen and security people and stuff like that. So it had to be stuff that worked, and it has to be effective. So I can understand that. But there's people taking money off people and stuff, showing them all sorts of ridiculous stuff. It's a shame, but we all get tarred with the same brush, David.
Yeah.
It's something you need to shrug off, and I need to shrug off.
Yeah,
because,
that's it. Yeah, for sure. So until you could do something perfectly, why think of another use for it?
Yeah.
Is that right with the block?
Yeah, just because you can't do it.
Yeah.
I can remember somebody saying to me once, Bill Wallace, I mean, I've got great respect for some of these martial arts, and some of the names in them. I mean, I like Shotokan. I like Shotokan. It's really good.
Yeah.
Kokushinkai, I can see that as well, and some of the people in it. I mean, Bill Wallace, I can remember, we had him over in the THEB to do a couple of seminars. Really nice guy. Okay, and somebody saying to me at Wolverhampton, it was a guy who did martial art, did a traditional martial art, and he said that the thing is, those front leg kicks, there's no power in them, they don't work. And I said to him, well, have you heard of Bill Wallace? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, he's been knocking people out with that front leg for X amount of years. You should try and tell them that it doesn't work.
That's right. Yeah.
It's crazy, and because they couldn't do it, they'd sort of they ruled it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I learn all the time, David. I'm a ninth degree, but I'm also a magpie. I steal things off people. I watch people, and there's first stands, second stands, irrespective. I don't care about the grade. I watch people and I think, blimey, that's a good idea. That's a good footwork, or that's something. And I can learn from them.
Yeah.
The day I think that I can't learn, off whatever grade it might be, then I've got my head stuck right up my backside.
Yeah.
I often say to people, I'm the area representative for Scotland and for Central England South, and liaison director for the TAGB and for Taekwondo International, technical advisor and stuff. But you gather those people together for pre-black belt training or something, and I say to them that, I'm a ninth degree, you're a first dan. I'm not a better person than you are. I just know a little bit more about Taekwondo, a bit more experience than you. That's it. End of story.
Yeah.
And respect is reciprocal.
Yeah.
I give you respect, you give me respect. Simple as that.
Yeah. That sounds a lot healthier, doesn't it? Than
I mean,
you must obey, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, one of Dave Oliver's favourite saying, but it's absolutely true. He'll say, it's not the Dan, it's the man. And that is an absolute true thing, you know. I mean, I don't care what grade you are. If I can steal ideas off you, I will.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will ask you advice on stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because you might know a little bit more or have a different idea to me, and that's fine. You know, it's pure Taekwondo. That's how you get on.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, excellent, sir. Yeah, I really appreciate this. This is great nuggets of advice for anyone watching and listening. Just, that just because you get higher up many years, you don't become closed off and think that you know everything and so on. You still have that healthy martial arts mind that can pick things out of this and that.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
understand what you're looking at, and
I mean, you know yourself, David. That there'll be people that will. This is I pinched this from a film, but there's two characters in it. I can't remember the film, but one of them says about, I think they're talking about God or something, but one of them said the difference is you tell him what he wants to hear, I tell him what he needs to hear. You know, and it's true. You'll get people who are very sycophantic and they'll sort of hang around and like they'll tell that senior person, you know, how marvelous they are and blah blah blah. But you know, and it's very nice. But at the end of the day, it needs to be said with sincerity.
Yeah.
You know, and not just people going around just because you're a higher grade than them. You know, if somebody asks me, I've got a terrible reputation, but if somebody asks me something, I'll tell them the truth.
Right.
You know? And consequently, it can always be a bit of a problem, you know, because it's not what I want to hear. But then again, my comeback is, well, don't ask the bloody question if you don't know. You know? It's as simple as that. There's somebody was telling me once about it's, you know, God, this person doesn't do you know, they don't do a correct martial art. They shouldn't, you know, their attitude's terrible. And I say, like, well, you know, do you know them? And they go, well, no. I said, well, you know, a bit of a statement, isn't it? You know, if you don't even know anybody, you've always got a preconceived idea in your head.
Yeah.
You know, giving them a chance. I mean, when another thing, like like I say, when we were in North Korea and doing the stuff, there's people there. I can remember a guy from New York, a guy called Kim, and he'd been in New York a long time, and you know the reputation that New York people have of being very abrupt and stuff like that. And one of the things he did in his demonstration was he got a couple of bottles and he smashed them up with a hammer, and he put them on the floor and then stood on them and was doing side kicks and hook kicks and turning kicks and stuff. And like somebody said to him, yeah, that's just like trickery. And he said, yeah, I know, but it's a demonstration. You know, we've got to do something that will amaze people. And the guy said, yeah, but you know, it's a bit showmanship, you know. And he said, that's what we're all here for. And if you can do it, you do it.
Yeah.
Just shut the guy up, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's one of those things. Don't knock people unless you can, you know.
Yeah.
You know a bit about it is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we just had a World Championships in Scotland, and it's the best World Championships we've ever had. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm the area coordinator for Scotland, and it was a lot of work, you know, living 300 miles away and still organising it. You know, there was 23, 24 countries there and 5,000 people and stuff. But you know, those people in Scotland, the people I represent, the instructors there, were absolutely fantastic. You know, I would say something, I've got to do this, and they go, no bother, sir, we'll sort that. You know, and it wasn't just lip service. You know, they actually did it.
Yeah.
They helped out so much. I mean, daft things like the podium. We had to borrow a podium from somewhere, and it was a bit of a state. So two of the instructors there, they just like stripped it, cleaned it up, repainted it, and recovered it and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, like, this is in between their classes and stuff.
Wow.
And then, they came together and made stuff work. And I was really sort of proud of that, a real proud moment. I was pleased with their attitude, all of them.
Yeah.
And anything problem I had, they'd say, we'll help with that, we'll sort it. And then Scottish men's team and the Scottish ladies team both won.
Wow.
The world championships. And it's like, I had the old curly lip, the trembly lip. It was that emotional. It was great. And the other thing that was so good, and it's like I'm just pumping up my own areas this time, but I meant it. Central England, from the Midlands, you had people, a massive turnout, drove up to Scotland and paid for the hotels and flew up to Scotland and stuff like that. The support was unbelievable, and it was probably one of my proudest moments ever.
Wow. 100%.
It was superb, and everybody else thought so. People from overseas, all the countries were raving about it, saying how good it was, and stuff like that sticks with me. It's people's good heart. You know what I mean? That impresses me.
Yeah.
More than getting your pajamas on and throwing your arms and legs about twice a week. It's one of them things.
So do you know those people personally, or are they're just underneath you and you've just asked them? And
well, they are underneath me, but I know them personally. I've got to know over a period of time. I know some of the families as well, and I like good people. That sort of that are straight and true. And as I say, I like that, and I hope I've become like sort of friends with them. You can't do that if people take it for granted, and you lose that Taekwondo respect. But you can do if you're comfortable enough that they know when you are sir and when you need to be listened to. As long as you keep that respect, then you can let it go a little bit, and you can talk to them as friends, and that's what I hope I can do. I mean, I was pointing out, I organised a seminar in Central England, South, for Dave Oliver and Ron Sergiew, and I did have to explain to people there that because they said like, what sort of influences, what are your big influences in Taekwondo, asking me the question, and I said, well. This sounds a bit sort of not very exciting, but my biggest influences were the people on the committee. They've all had their influence in certain ways. Dave Oliver more than anybody else. I don't want to bring him up because you've had a podcast with him, but I suppose But I've got to say that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been teaching. He did 3 clubs, and one of them, or 2 of them, should I say, Nuneaton and Solihull clashed on a Thursday evening. So I taught for him on a Thursday evening at Nuneaton. And I didn't particularly want to teach, at that time. I was just sort of preoccupied with, I want to do this on the best, and I want to do this, etc.
Yeah.
And he said, you should teach, you should pass it on. It's selfish if you don't pass it on. And I said, well, I can't really, because I haven't got a car. And he went, no, you can have my car and go there. And I went, yeah, but for how long? At the time I was out of work. And, he said, no. And you should open up a club in big city like Birmingham. And I said, God, there's a lot of competition there. Karate's been there a long time and Kung and all this. He said, yeah, you can top that. You go there, you're up in Birmingham and open up in Wolverhampton as well. And he lent me his car for like 9 months. I had this car.
Wow.
And then he was the first guy to go professional as a professional instructor.
Yeah.
And then the next, I was working in I just had a little baby, I was doing anything. I was doing I'm qualified as an electrician, but the company I got made redundant. So in the morning, I was doing like a milk round as a milkman.
Yeah.
And then I was teaching my clubs. And then I was working in a bakery in the evening.
Wow.
Just to get money together.
Yeah.
And he said, "You want to go professional?" And I went, "No, you're joking. You know, I'm a young guy, you know." No, you got to go professional. And he badgered me like hell. And I went professional and never looked back since. But if you think about all the, there's like, I don't know, 20 schools in Birmingham and like several in Wolverhampton, would have never been here.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him kicking my ass and,
right.
Sorry, I swore.
No, that's...
and getting me out to do it. And Ron Sergiew, same sort of thing. He would, you know, say, "Look, I've seen this. There's a guy, so and so can break 2 bricks, you know, with a side kick." And I go, "Yeah, what are you telling me for?" "Because that's what we're going to do next week." And he stack of bricks in or something and get us to do it, you know. And as I say, it's you know, people like Mike Dew. Mike Dew's the oldest of us, quiet guy, you know, but he learned Taekwondo ages ago, and he had a load of setbacks, but you know, he sort of persevered with it and pushed it. And like people will say to me, like, you know, Mike doesn't have a history of like sort of, you know, flashing about techniques. And it's like I say to him, I say, "Tell you what, you know, if he punched you, you'd know about it, you know, or you wouldn't be able to tell me about it." And like I say, Yanni Peros, superb guy. I'm rattling on about the committee, but to be honest with you, they are my inspiration. They have been my inspiration.
Yeah.
The late Brian Towndrow, I'll just tell you a quickie about him.
Yeah.
Bless him. Lovely guy. We've had our fallouts in the past, etc., and God knows what, but lovely guy. I can remember myself, Ron Sergiew, and him, and we were standardizing patterns. So everybody was singing from the same song sheet. And we were going through the book. And at the time, we got to a pressing block, which you'll be familiar with.
Yeah.
And I said, "That's totally bloody useless." And he said, "No, it isn't." And I go, "It is, Brian." I said, while we were standing there, I think, I'm ashamed of it really, but I was flicking turning kicks up and like ruffling his hair up and stuff like that, showing off, you know, terrible, terrible attitude. And I said, "You can't, you stop me with that." So I'd like feint a front kick and do a turning kick again. And he said, "Yeah, but you know, I wasn't really ready." So I think that's funny. And I go, like, "Okay." So the next time he sort of semi-blocks me. And I think, right, I'm going to whip one in a little bit quicker now. Okay. So I said to him, I go, "Brian, you won't stop it." And he went, "I will." So I throw a front kick out really hard, and he does this pressing block. And he stopped me dead. And I thought, bugger. So I'm driving home, and my shin was aching, really aching badly. And I thought, God, blimey, you know, he's bruised my shin. That night I couldn't sleep.
Oh.
So I go to A&E, and they said, "You got a fracture in your shin bone." And you know, I never told him that for about 15 years.
Right.
And then we were at a tournament in Worcester, and because I didn't want to give him the satisfaction, and then I said, "You know, you broke my shin." And he looked as pleased as punch. And I thought, yeah, all right. But again, that's a humility thing, David. You know, it shows you, okay, some people can't throw their legs all over the place, but it doesn't make them bad at Taekwondo. You know, maybe they are superb, and you shouldn't underrate people because they don't look flash.
No, that's a great lesson, isn't it? Like you said. And and again, you said, didn't you, like, until you know how to do that technique perfectly.
Yeah. And like I say, you know, like Kenny Walton, you know, like he took sparring up to another level to how fit you could be. It was like instead of me, like I say, throwing something flash out towards the end of the fight to get a decision, he like just watched me. He sussed me out, no problem at all. And what he was doing at the time, when all the rest of us were doing a few press-ups and doing a sparring session at night, he would do a run from a 10-miler from where he lived in Thorn towards Doncaster. And when he got to Doncaster, he'd catch the last bus home. Okay, so but he'd cut his time down each time. So if he ran to Doncaster and missed the bus, he knew he'd have to run back. So he would have to keep the standard up and have to push himself all the time.
Wow.
And it's like, like when you're waiting to pull a fantastic technique out, but you think, I can't, I'm knackered.
Yeah.
I'm blowing, because at a different level, just pushing it up. All these guys have been a great influence on me. I've got to admit,
No, it's brilliant to hear that, and you're still together and close knit as ever. And
yeah. I mean, we have terrific arguments. I've got to tell you. I mean, real bad arguments.
Yeah.
I mean, people say to me, it's like, how have you stuck together? And I said, well, I don't really know, because it's sometimes you'll go into a meeting, and this applies to all of us, and you know something for a fact. You're absolutely right. Okay, absolutely right. No doubt about it. And then you'll put your case, and they'll vote against it or turn it down. Yeah. And you think, like, what's the matter with them? They can't. And they see it. It's absolutely right. And then you think, well, yeah, but I've lost the vote, and you have to take that away with you and forget it.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, that takes an awful lot of doing. There's not many people who can do that.
No.
It's one of those things that, and to avoid it, some people, like I see some of these grandmasters, and they don't agree with a certain thing, so they start their own association where everybody agrees with them. That's one way around it, but is it the right way? I don't think so. You stop listening to people, then it's no good at all.
Yeah. So even though you get the no's, you still need that in a group, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Even if, like I say, you don't agree with it, and it's wrong or it's right for certain, then unfortunately we call this democracy. We start listening to other people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were my student, David, heaven forbid, you'd never get over it. You'd be in therapy now. But if you were my student and you said, look, I have this question about, if I couldn't answer it, then I would find somebody who could. I wouldn't blag it for you.
Yeah.
Because that would be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Whereas I know a lot of people would blag it.
Yeah.
A lot of so-called grandmasters or whatever, because they wouldn't want to lose face. I don't think it's losing face. I think it's gaining respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Owning up to something you can't do. You're fallible.
Yeah, absolutely. Rather than saying something for the sake of it, maybe wrong. That's wrong, and then there's things after that, isn't there? Oh, I thought you said this, or
absolutely.
Yeah. So your career, you're still very much involved in Taekwondo.
Yeah.
You on the floor teaching?
I don't teach anymore. I do. I'm a grading examiner, which takes up quite a bit of time. I do seminars for people. And again, some people will come to me as individuals and say, look, while you're here, could you have a look at this? Could you watch me do this, or could you do that and give me your advice? I'll do it. Sometimes they'll say, like, can I have a one-to-one or whatever, and how much do you want for that? And I go, I don't want anything. You're asking me to watch you. I'll watch you do it. If it takes up a lot of my time, I want paying for it.
Yeah.
All that time I could be with my granddaughters or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I say, it does take up a lot of time. Earlier on, they were about doing things, and like I said to you, I sort of had to curtail a lot of things when I had kids. I love my kids; they're brilliant. I wouldn't have it any other way. But it's, I mean, I'll give you an instance. I was at a meeting, and it was quite a heated meeting, and we were talking about stuff that it was a subject that we had to deal with within the TAGV. In doing that, I missed my children's christening, which, as I say, I still feel guilty about it now. My wife never mentions it. Absolutely brilliant about it, but I thought I'm putting so much into this, to Taekwondo and everything, and you can't get back those times again.
Yeah,
my kids don't mention it either, which is good. I'm sure it's for my benefit, but it's it's certain times in your life you just have to prioritize. At the time, I didn't think I could leave that meeting.
Yeah.
That without having a say, but and getting my point across. But like I say, it involved doing that. So
Yeah.
Can't go back, can you?
No, you can't.
I wish I could. I hate getting old, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. Yeah. I mean, but it's one of those things. You just, as you're getting older. I mean, training wise now, yeah, I've been held up a little bit due to like illness thing. 24, I got diagnosed with cancer, and then sort of operation towards the end of that, and then some damage was done in the operation, so I had to have another one last October. This October just gone. So it held it back, but like now, I'm like sort of. I'm getting back into it slowly, but talking about age stuff, people will say to me, I'll give you an example. I was did a seminar for somebody, I won't mention who it was, and one of the younger people said, could you, excuse me, sir, if I stand here, could you do that twist kick over your shoulder like I saw on that picture? I thought, where the hell did they get that picture from? And it was like Dave Oliver on his Facebook or whatever put it on, because I don't do social media, but
no,
put it on, and I said, well, yeah, okay, I can do it, but the difference is I could do it, no problem at all. Now if I do it, I can't walk for a couple of weeks. It kills me, But I did it for him, and like everybody, wow, great, and then I looked around, there's a line of people want me the same kind of photograph, and I'm like, oh god, and literally. I did it for about, I don't know, 30 or 40 people. Wow. I could not walk for days after, because at the time when I'm doing it in my 20s and my 30s and my 40s and 50s, your recovery is fantastic. I'm 70,
Yeah.
You just don't recover like that. So I'm hobbling about. But getting, training wise, getting back to it a little bit now, doing it.
You have your own little regime, you do what you like to do.
Yeah, I do a lot of, walk along a lot of distances.
Yeah.
I do like sort of, do weights.
Yeah.
Not big heavy stuff, but repetitive stuff. Do some stretching. The problem is, when certain operations you have and things, afterwards recovery rate and thing, they tell you don't strain. Whatever you do, don't strain. Well, you tell me next time you don't strain. It's one of those. So you just have to do it until it hurts, and away you go.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So what's been your highlight? Would you say, or is it still happening, or was there any particular? I mean, obviously, you did that amazing tour with those people, and
the World Championships as well. As I say, in Scotland, it was one of those things that I pushed. The committee backed me 100%, even though there was a risk of it falling on its backside. But as I say, being the area coordinator for those two areas, I get a great deal of pleasure in that, because the feedback I get from people, and stuff, and it's impossible. As I say, a lot of people, these grandmasters and high grade people, they get their head up their own backside. It's impossible to do that within the TAGV. Within the committee in particular, they just won't let you do it. You know, the minute you start to start getting a bit above yourself, it's all like, ooh, who do you think you are? You know, and that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You try and pass that on to people.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me at the World Championships, they come up, they'd won a division. It's a guy who's trained me for a long time. Mike Jones, his name is, and he's one of the first people I taught at Wolverhampton. And he come and I said, God, congratulations! He won in the executive class and the over 45s or whatever. And I said, you've done really well. That's superb. And he's with his wife, and he said to me, he said, you've really had an effect on my whole life. And I thought, God, that's what you think. Not only does it make you feel, very humbled.
Yeah.
It also gives you a responsibility. You think if you have that kind of effect on people, then you should be very careful on how you treat those people, and how you should look after them. And that's why I enjoy it, being the area coordinator, because I'll always look after those people because they have that kind of respect for me. It's a responsibility. It's like you. If a parent comes in with two kids and I hand them over, they're the most precious thing in the world to them. They hand them over to you to teach, then that's a big responsibility for you, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like that because they watch you, how you act, how you walk around. If they bump into you in your town, in a restaurant, they watch how you eat, they watch how you drink, they watch how you walk, how you treat other people. So it's a great responsibility, and that's something I'm humbled and grateful to have.
Yeah, no, 100%. I resonate everything you said there. So with the responsibility and the effect you can have on people, so thank you so much. It's been great to meet you. Finally, I thought I might see you in Manchester a little while back, but maybe that's when you were
incapacitated.
Because there was that meeting, wasn't there, at the university? With some of the heads of Taekwondo in the UK, and I was hoping to catch you there, but obviously wasn't able to. But so having spoken to Michael Cormack a little while ago, and he mentioned about the team and meeting you and your roommate, I think he said, and there was one question I was going to ask actually. Did you go to the mountains at all? For photographs.
Kungang San Mountains, I mean, if you ever look at those photos, I've got a moustache. I look like a bit like a 70s porn star, but but I went up those mountains and it was absolutely superb. I'll tell you a little story just before we finish. They've got these springs, natural springs, and the water is green, absolutely green. It's beautiful place. It really is. But we're in these mountains, and they say, right, you have a bit of free time before lunch, before dinner. Great. And I thought, and you can bathe in these natural mineral ponds. So we go in there, and it's covered over, like with a big gazebo type of thing. So Kresha Broussa, the Yugoslav guy, he said, and me, I'll come and bathe. So so we go in there. It's quite a big pool, about 12 foot by 12 foot. This pool, and you go in and sit on the rocks and everything, and it's hot, naturally hot.
Wow.
So again, I'm not trying to make too many excuses, but I am 25, and I'm a bit silly as a sheep. So in these beautiful natural springs, mineral springs, I get a bottle of Vosine shampoo out. Decide it's a good time to wash my hair. Because I did have hair at the time. So that's exactly what I did. Kresha Broussa said, can I borrow some? Yeah. Okay, so the whole place is full of soap bubbles. So this is a natural thing. This guy come in because it's like flowing out.
Right.
This hole in the rock. The guy comes in and he's like one of our minders and said, is everybody all right? What's happened? And
Yeah.
I went, nothing. We were both sitting there with soap suds all over. What? No, we're all right. He said for thousands of years in the Needles Mountains, the Kumgang Mountains,
Yeah.
these springs that ran pure, and I thought, oh God, swallow me up. Yeah.
But you had because there's photos on the encyclopedia, isn't there? The later ones with photos of the mountains, and
Yeah,
there's one of Michael Cormack and Choi Jung Hwa crossing sidekicks, and
yeah,
was you there for that as well? And
yeah. I mean, I should imagine, you know, since we sort of left the ITF, I just imagine I would be cut out of any
gotcha.
of those photos. I
Yeah.
don't blame them, you know, but
Yeah.
whatever. That's what people do. They rub out history if they
Yeah.
don't want you to know about it. Yeah, it's like, you know, when people leave associations, they'll mention everything except the association that they've left. You know,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those. But again, I mean, it's a shame, really. I got nothing against any of the other associations or anything like that. But it's a shame, like the ITF, as I say, there's about 5-6 groups now, isn't there? You know,
Yeah.
and to me, of being an outsider, you know, I think, well, why don't you just talk, get together a bit? But
Yeah.
everybody wants to be a chief.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be an Indian. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, sir, thank you so much. It's been great speaking to you.
Thank you, David. You take care.
Yeah.
And look after your family, mate. It's
Thank you,
important.
sir.
Okay. All the
Thanks
best,
so
mate.
much. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.